to elaborate a little bit and without crying.
I'd like to show it to everybody so they can see it. With the LAPD badge on top. Badge number at the top. I'd like to read it to you and then just mention a little bit about it. It's presented to Officer Christian Shaw, October 21st, 2016. In recognition of your dedication and commitment to protect and serve our nation and the city of Los Angeles. Your selfless service to your fellow officers was only surpassed by your leadership of the #1 Explorer post in the Los Angeles Police Department. In serving as a role model for at-risk youth, you kept them out of gangs and off drugs, and prepared them to serve as our next generation of LAPD officers. May the exemplary service you provided to our nation, the city, and to the LAPD grant you a sense of accomplishment as this award acknowledges you at your retirement from the department. Lieutenant Craig Lally, President, Los Angeles Police Protective League, Sergeant Mitch Grobeson, President, West Coast Goal, Officers Action League.
Yay!
What I'd like to say, next year will be the 40th anniversary for the class of '77, the kids at Venice High School. Venice High School is one of the first schools to have a metal detector, full-time security staff. The kids that were mentored by Chris, the young men and women. There's a lot of people who won't be attending our 40th class reunion for the class of '77 for Venice High because we lost a lot of them to knives while we were in school, to baseball bats where we had shattered skulls, to drugs where we'd find them with spray paint in their socks, lost oxygen because the spray paint was coming out of their mouth and nose trying to get high. Shortly after that, the 80s, 90s, from guns. And Chris Shaw took this at-risk youth, and if you happen to be a member of that chain email, every 2 weeks you get an H60 Hawk notice with all the photos of his Explorer post, which was a ragtag group to start with. But within a very short period of time, we saw people who had uniforms that were so crisp. Young men and women had uniforms that were so crisp because we have a military hero here who was providing a role model in the LAPD. And they were so proud of their uniforms. They were so proud of their identity. And what he did with them, taking these kids who could never afford to do things like go to Magic Mountain, and he would have fundraisers. He would get donations, and when that didn't cover it, he'd take it out of his own paycheck to make sure that these kids could have experiences to be outside of going into gangs, going into drugs, becoming a member of Sotel. That's, of course, the street that's 1 block west of the San Diego freeway. They just spell a little differently. And these lives that were influenced there was a typical of LAPD, unfortunately, management,
David
not of LAPD officers.
Podesta, you need to come up as well. David was my boss. David Podesta. David Podesta, this would never happen without you. David was my OIC sergeant too. Come on, David, because you're part of this as well. Thank you.
Somebody at Operations West Bureau heard a rumor that Chris was gay.
I spread it.
And the next thing we knew was Internal Affairs was interviewing every male and female member of his Explorer post, trying to find some evidence of misconduct. This was a man who had saved lives, changed lives, had given everything of himself to present the most outstanding young men and women without any type of misconduct, any type of insubordination, doing everything within his power to represent West Los Angeles and the LAPD, and who had his Explorer post taken away from him. And so this award, I would ask in parting that we do something that LAPD didn't do for him, and that is that we acknowledge his self-sacrifice, his commitment to these young men and women and keeping them alive and off drugs by giving him a standing ovation.
Yeah.
I love you.
Yes, sir.
I love you.